I think the most important skill is to be able to synthesize large amounts of data, things that are sort of maybe non-connected, and be able to draw a story out of those connections. In order to do, the analysts that are going to progress the fastest, the young people that are really going to make an impression, are those that come in with sort of a level of professional poise and tenacity that, they sort of don't accept stuff at face value. They fight through, they're willing to negotiate harder, they're willing to sort of go the extra mile, and sometimes the old saying is pull a rabbit out of their hat, and they make something. The way often that a young analyst or a newer analyst might impress their managing director or something that leads to promotion is they get a deal done or make a connection or make a sale or some kind of an accomplishment that managing director thought was going to be dead. And sometimes the ability to kind of see around, be creative, and really just be very tenacious and sort of almost, I hate using the word, but I think it's accurate, is be very aggressive. I think aggressiveness is a big trait that the most successful people in this industry have.
My very first step is don't always be deterred by the requirements that are laid out before you, because like I said, being passionate and willing to learn and willing to work hard is often as valuable as some of the experience that you might have. Internships are a great way to get your foot in the door, and especially in nonprofit work, we're always seeking out opportunities to have more resources available to us because the resources are so limited. So when somebody comes in and they are excited and they're interested in the work, that is a huge selling point. We're happy to make a space for you. Another piece of advice I would say is that maybe at the beginning, don't be too idealistic about the work that you are going to do.
Honesty with yourself and with the people that you work with, extremely important. Resilience is very, very important. Being able to be wrong many, many times and still wake up and try the next day. Openness to learning. It's important to recognize that you work with people, because at the end of the day, we have to work together in teams.
Most of them aren't truly working by yourself. You typically still need a team for a whole host of reasons. One, you can't take on a lot of transactions, more than 2 or 3 if you're doing it by yourself, because you have to do everything, and there is a lot involved in these types of transactions. And really, you also have to do it in such a way where you're really a consultant. You can't go and do the investment banking business truly on your own. Our regulatory environment doesn't really allow you to do that.
You have to be self-motivated. Because there's no managers and there's nobody overseeing, you could always be working on your project and you could always be thinking about it. So good historians are both able to set their own deadlines and schedule and cut it out when they're not doing it. Friends, rejuvenate, new ideas, thoughts, friendship, fellowship, then back. Work. One of the most important things is people that can do that are really good at structuring their own time, their day, making clear lines between your personal life and your work life. I was kind of nervous about public speaking, and now here I am sitting and talking to you over YouTube, right? And I feel, here's my hands. But I remember having that, like everyone has, where nervous in class and couldn't speak. And I remember having like embarrassing moments in school where I thought I was supposed to give a presentation and I just did, I was so nervous. And I think, interestingly, I might have avoided this profession because I have to do this all the time, right? I might have said, that's my Achilles heel and I'm not going to mess with it. Don't let something that you're not good at prevent you from doing something that's going to make your life awesome. If I had said, I don't really like public speaking, I'm not going to work on that, I'm just going to avoid it, then my life would be very different. That was the biggest change as I worked hard on it. I learned how to walk into a room and prep a lecture and do it with no notes. I don't read my notes like a lot of historians will do when they come in. I don't do any of that stuff. I love the presentation and I embrace it now. Now it's like my favorite thing to do. When I was really young, my parents told me I was dyslexic, which means I wasn't able to really process words, and I went to a special school as a result of this. I went through a lot of rigorous training on this type of stuff. I wasn't someone who just read because I loved it. It was actually work for me. But yet I understood that reading was incredibly valuable. So I read a lot over the years because I knew that doing that would give me knowledge, which would give me power and the ability to do things I wanted to do. You have to do 3 things really well to be a historian. We call it walking, talking, and chewing gum at the same time. You have to be able to communicate with people over a broad audience, verbally, public speaking, and also in writing. You have to be a good teacher. You have to be able to communicate with young people and have that energy to do that every day.
To be a successful public relations writer, you need to have a Teflon back. You have to be able to say, you know what, you're right, I'll look at this in a different way. I'll think of this in a different way. I'll write about this in a different way. You're not just writing for you, you're writing for the people that are paying you. And they may see things differently than you do. You need to be flexible and not take things personally. Open-minded to new views, not just about your writing, but about the topic that you write about. I work right now for a company that is practically a family company, and every sister, every nun can have some input on what I do. So I have 450 bosses. I get a lot of input. You need to take it gently, take it with a pound or two of salt, and you need to be, you know what, I appreciate that, I'm respectful of that, and move on. Not take it personally, not take it like somebody's tearing down your world or it's all a personal affront. It's just the ability to kind of have a Teflon back.
That's a really great question. I learned that consistency is key and there's no substitution for repetition. I also learned that if we have too many goals in mind, then it is lost. We have to focus on 1 to 3 key elements so that students can progress and know exactly what they're learning. It is by small means that great things happen, whether it's just a beautiful bow hold or just moving a finger a teeny bit or changing the angle. It's by these small things that greatness comes to pass. I really believe that. Other things that I've learned is how to teach principles that maybe are more challenging in a way that kids can understand. It takes a lot of work to be a musician and be a teacher. So definitely determination and a will to do it, even when you're not in the mood. That certainly is a determining factor to help, as well as having a plan of what you want to be. And as a teacher, I think it's good to have a vision and your own vision of what you want to accomplish and what you want to be.